Welcome back my friends. Today I will present to you a history run somewhere far from Bucharest, in Iași. Join me for some magnificent historical sites, some funny jokes and some good music. Zorro sees a hot-looking chick. To impress her, he makes a Z on the fence. She says, "Wow, Superman." Sir, I recommend you get a bald haircut. And that helps stop hair loss? No, but it helps you get used to it. As a crowning glory of neo-Gothic, Romantic and neo-Baroque architectural styles, the palace in the center of Iași, designed in the spirit of the communal palaces of Western Europe, looks out over the horizons of the cultural capital of Moldavia every day. The palace was built between 1906 and 1925 by architect Birindi. The clock in the tower of the Palace of Culture has contributed greatly to the building's fame. It inherited the memory of the clock installed in the tower of the gate of the court of the manor in 1728, which for a long time gave the city its rhythms. The stained glass windows of the clock dials are decorated with the 12 astral signs. According to the architect Birindi, the two horsemen painted in the fresco and surrounding the clock are the pilgrims of Dragos Voda, the descendant of Moldavia. During the First World War, the Palace of Culture in Iași was transformed into a hospital. Here soldiers wounded at the front were cared for by medical staff and volunteers. It is said that in 1650, after being burned by the Tatars, the court of Iași was renovated by Vasile Lupu and moved. Now the museum representing it can be found under the Palace of Culture. For 7 years, historians and archaeologists have been excavating and unearthing ancient walls dating back to 1430. 5 important centuries of Romanian history have been preserved. Newspaper ad, handsome young man, student, don't drink, don't smoke, cool car, 12-room house, rich parents. I don't want anything, I just want to brag. The fair of Iași was first mentioned in 1408, as an important commercial center, during the reign of the voivode Alexander the Good and developed with the foundation of the court of Iași in 1434. During the reign of Stephen the Great, the church of St. Nicholas the Great was built. Battles against the Ottoman Empire, the Tatars and the kingdoms of Hungary and Poland brought him fame, and Moldova prospered, reaching its maximum extension in 1483, from the Dniester to the crests of the Eastern Carpathians and from the Black Sea to north of Chernivtsi, today in Ukraine. The growing power of the Ottoman Empire and their alliance with the Tatars of the northern Black Sea made the Principality of Moldavia its vassal from the death of Stephen, 1504, until independence, 1877, with some interruptions. Roznovanu Palace is an architectural monument built in the 7th-10th decades of the 18th century and restored between 1830 and 1833 by the famous architect Gustave Frevald, who also designed the Metropolitan Cathedral in Iași. The building is impressive for its sumptuousness and for the magnificence of its interiors, and houses the current headquarters of the Iași City Hall. Until 1891, when it was sold to the state, the building was the residence of the Roznovanu family, the most powerful and influential family in the Moldavian political arena. Being one of the most important houses of Iași at the time, it hosted many personalities and witnessed significant historical events. Gustave Eiffel was retouching the final details of a veritable architectural jewel in 1882. Not in Paris or Vienna or the United States, but in Iași, on Romanian soil, in one of the centers that polarized the knowledge and energies of the whole country. 2 years before the same Gustave Eiffel became famous with the Statue of Liberty, which still watches over the American continent, and 7 years before he erected the tower in Paris that bears his name, in Iași, in the Union Square, according to the plans of the master from Côte d'Or, a building with neoclassical influence came to life, the Grand Hotel TRAIAN. Princes and princesses, ambassadors, ministers and presidents of states, people of culture and art, pilgrims in search of spirituality or businessmen eternally on the move, lived a day of their own history here in the old hotel, a symbolic building of the Franco-Romanian cultural community, to which Eiffel himself confers celebrity. Spectacular, elegant and with a privileged position in the city center, the Grand Hotel TRAIAN is, like the Palace of Culture, the Vasilii Alexandri Theatre or the Metropolitan Cathedral, a symbol of Iași. A skeleton walks into a bar. He goes up to the bartender and orders, "Boy, a beer and a mop." The yellow Ravine or Eminescu's bridge is a belvedere high porch, with small, flirty balconies. It's bordered by grand side staircases where you can see ladies in beautiful ball gowns descending. The whole thing looks like something out of a majestic castle courtyard, making it one of the most beautiful and photogenic places in Iași. The area was formerly known as Elizabeth Esplanade. At the time when the crossing point between Copou and Railway Station Street was completed, 1900, it was fashionable to give the streets princely names. It was the way of the people of Iași to remember the royal house of Romania. Hence the name Elizabeth Esplanade. A stork flies by with an old man in its beak. At one point the old man says, "Hey, admit we're lost." The imposing building on Copoului Hill in Iași, inaugurated on the 21st of October 1897, in the presence of King Carol and Queen Elizabeth, as the seat of the first university in the Romanian principalities, or the University Palace, as it is still known, is one of the symbolic buildings of Iași. A man sentenced to death is asked, "What is your last wish?" "To watch Young and the Restless head to head, with all the publicity," he answered. Copou Park began to be laid out around 1833 to 1834, but the appearance of a modern garden is given by 𝐇𝐢𝐬𝐿𝐭𝐨𝐫𝐲. In the park there is the oldest monument in Romania, the monument of the constitutional laws known as the obelisk with lions made in 1834. The 15 meters high and 10-ton stone column, supported by 4 lions, symbolizes the 4 European powers that recognized the independence of the Romanian countries. In the center of Copou Park, next to Eminescu's lime tree, there is his bust and the bust of his old friend 𝐇𝐢𝐬𝐭𝐨𝐫𝐲 erected in 1932. Eminescu is considered one of the most important poets of the Romanian language, and is cherished as a national poet in both Romania and Moldova. Thank you for having stayed with me this far. If you have listened to this part of the video and would like to comment below, please start your comment with your first name. I'm glad I know how to address you so I can respond by name. Have a wonderful day. See you soon.